Let's take a look at rotations. A rotation is a turn around a fixed point called the center of rotation. So we have right here a rotation in real life of Ferris wheel. So the center of rotation of this Ferris wheel would be this center point right here, and the cabins or these pods here are rotating around that fixed point. So remember, a rotation is understood to be counterclockwise around the origin unless otherwise stated. So now when that happens, these are some rules to remember. When you have a 90-degree rotation, you want to flip your x and y value and change the sign of the y value. All right. When you have a 180-degree rotation, you simply change the sign of both values. You don't have to flip them in this case. For 270 degrees, again, you want to flip the x and y value, but instead of changing the sign of the y value, you want to change it of the x value. All right. And of course, with the 360-degree rotation, that figure simply stays the same, and your x and y values will stay the same. So now we have an example here of a 90-degree rotation that is counterclockwise. I have the vertices 2, 7, 6, 5, and 4, 1, and I want to use the rule negative y, x, meaning I want to flip my x and y value and change the sign of my y value. So I'm going to actually find my new ordered pairs before I plot my image. So for A, I have 2, 7. So for my A prime, which will be my image, I'm going to flip x and y. So that becomes 7, 2, and that y value becomes negative. Okay, for B prime, I have 6, 5. I'm going to just flip it to 5, 6, and that y value becomes the opposite. So since it's positive 5, it becomes negative 5. And for C, 4, 1, I'm going to flip that to 1, 4, and change the sign of my y value. So now, of course, if the y value were already negative, you would change it to a positive. So now I'm just going to plot my new ordered pairs. My A prime is negative 7, 2. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. And up to 2. A prime, negative 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is my B prime. And negative 1, 4. Back 1. Up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, just draw or connect my lines, or connect my dots rather, and try to get your lines as straight as possible. Hopefully, if you're writing on paper, you can have a ruler or some type of straight edge to draw your lines properly. All right. So now we have an example here of 180-degree rotation, and we simply want to change the sign of our x and y values. So P is 2, 6. No flipping here. So P prime would of course be negative 2, negative 6. Q, or Q prime, would be negative 6, negative 5. R prime from 5, 1, negative 5, negative 1. And S prime, negative 1, negative 2. And of course, if it were already negative, you would change it to a positive. So you want to change the signs. So I'm going to plot these here. Negative 2, 6, 1, 2, up 6, 1, 2, negative 2, negative 6, back 1, 2, down 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is my P prime. Negative 6, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Q prime. Negative 5, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Negative 1 would be here. That is my R prime. And then negative 1, negative 2, back. Negative 1, down, 1, 2. And that is my S prime. And then I'm just going to attempt to make straight lines. So that is a rotation across the, a rotation that is 180 degrees counterclockwise. Okay, so for our last example here, we're rotating a figure counterclockwise 270 degrees. And so we want to use this rule. Y negative x. So we want to flip the x and y values and change the sign of my x value. So I have the ordered pair for j, which is 3, 4. My j prime would be 4, 3. So I always just flip it first, and then I change the sign. So I'm going to change this from positive 3 to negative 3. All right. K prime, flip it to 4, 6. Change the sign of my new y value here. For my L prime, I have, I'm going to flip it to 1, 8 and change the sign to a negative for my new y value. And then for M prime, I'm going to, it's the same number, 1, 1, but then change the sign of my new y value. So it's easy to just flip the values first and then change the sign of the value that you need to change. In this case, from our original x value to our new y value, which is the opposite. All right, and I've already put the figure up here, and I just want to label it. Let's label our image here. And so this is going to be M prime, J prime, K prime, and L prime. Okay, so we're just going to recap our rules here. I like to remember the 180 degree rotation first. So for that one, that's the easiest one to remember. You simply change the sign of your x and y values. So if they're negative, it becomes positive. If they're positive, it becomes negative. Now for the 90 degree rotation and a 270 degree rotation, you're going to flip your x and y values. But in a 90 degree rotation, the y value changes to the opposite. 270 degree rotation, that x value changes to the opposite. And of course, with 360 degree rotation, that figure would stay the same. All right, so we've reached the end of our lesson on rotations. Thank you for learning with me. If you want to click the playlist to learn more about transformations, there are videos on translations, reflections, and dilations. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell to get notified whenever I post new content. Again, thank you for learning with me.